With so many swimming pools shut at the moment because of the pandemic, this type of thing is very common in the triathlon world. Dry land swimming, and totally get it, it's the nearest thing that we can do to replicating the movements and how we use our muscles when we're actually doing swimming without being in the water. But we can guarantee, because of previous lockdowns and the fact that people haven't spent enough time in the swimming pool this year compared to what they would do, is swimmers and triathletes are going to start to run into one of the most common shoulder injuries, even more commonly, and that's what we call shoulder impingement. Now I'm going to show you what that is, but I'm going to also show you how to actually prevent that now. So we've got better performance when we get back in the pool, but secondly, we don't get back in the pool and start to develop these injuries, which can be really, really frustrating. So just context, first thing at the moment is Craig's posture here at the moment. You can see he's very slouched over. So what we call here is thoracic spine. He's very flexed. Now if you think at the moment, that's the position that you're in when you're cycling. So you've stopped swimming, and when you swim, you're in a much more better posture than that. We're in a much more aligned, straight position. So we're not in that position anymore, but you're still cycling the same. For many of you, you might be cycling even more, which sends us back into that posture. Your work probably means you're less mobile, so we're over the desk a lot more, maybe because you're not walking to and from meetings and things like that. So we're spending more time in this posture, and this is the posture that we link into risk of shoulder impingement, because the more we're in this position, the tighter and narrower the gap is between the top of Craig's shoulder blade and the top of his, if you like, upper arm bone here, his humerus. And that's the trigger. So if we get into a good position, what we need to be able to do is start to include activities and training which keep him in this position. Because if Craig just goes back against the dry land swimming, for most people, they won't be in that posture. So it's very hard for Craig to actually have a nice streamlined flat position because he's not lying flat on his back. And if he lies flat on his back, he can't support himself to be able to do the movement. So this doesn't do what swimming does in terms of reinforcing that good posture to enable his shoulders to be strong, healthy, and great for swimming. So there are a couple of key things. Now the first one is upper body pulling strength, so what we call vertical pulling strength. It does play a key part. So things like pull-ups, chin-ups, yes, they're important. That's not going to be the main focus of the video today though. Those muscles that we train there are important for propulsion, particularly for our latissimus dorsi, and they play a part. But in terms of the actual durability of your shoulder, the often overlooked area is to do with the muscles that don't downwardly rotate the shoulder, but as you'll see now, they retract the shoulder. So if Craig does this bent over band pull, his shoulder blades are retracted, and then as he goes back down, and then they're protracting forwards. Now, even though with swimming, we think more about the shoulder actually moving differently, this is key, strengthening this movement to enable us to stay in a stable position here, which reduces the risk of impingement. And again, if you look at the line of his spine there, we're not in that bad position. So Craig, if you do a couple of bad reps, look, he's slouched all of a sudden, and his shoulder blades here won't be retracting very much. He's relying on using his biceps, and this is what you will commonly do. It doesn't matter how much you do this exercise. If you're using bad technique, it's a waste of your time. It will probably reinforce bad habits. Now, if Craig does this correctly, first of all, watch, the shoulder blades now are set in a much more better position at the start. So his shoulders here aren't drawn forwards, and he's got that nice level, what we call neutral spine up in the thoracic. And finally, the edge of those shoulder blades are retracting fantastically. They're protracting and they're retracting. One more. So there's various ways that you need to be able to do this, different exercises, different techniques, different ways to progress the load and the reps like we do with the triathletes we work with at Triathletes online. But this is just an indicator of something that you should really, really do now to make sure that when you get back in the pool, when you get swimming again and those meters start to go up, that you don't start to develop an injury, which I can guarantee most people will have way beyond what they would have originally. And it's one of the most common triathlon shoulder injuries we come across anyway.